silver two-door Mercedes-Benz was waiting at a stoplight. A fly gently sits on the car's windshield. The driver of the car was an egotistical guy, wearing a business suit with gelled, slicked back hair. He was yelling on his mobile phone. When he saw the fly, it disgusted him. He immediately turned on his wipers, killing the fly instantly. Smirking, he turned on his car window washer fluid, cleaning the mess. He continued yelling on the phone. He heard a hard knock on his car window. Startled, he looked out and saw a kid showing him a box of candy that he was selling. Angry, he put his window down and started yelling at the kid to get away. Scared, the kid ran off. The stoplight changed, and while still yelling on the phone, he put his car in motion to drive. Within seconds, and without even time to assess what had happened, another car drove right into him, tearing off his bumper. Pissed, he got out of his car as the driver of the other car got out too. They both started screaming at each other. They were couples holding hands walking past the accident. Kids that were dancing on the sidewalk had stopped to look at the men arguing with each other. On such a beautiful, warm spring day, chaos was definitely felt in the air of Times Square. Multitudes of native New Yorkers were dashing, bobbing, and weaving around tourists through traffic. It showed how the heart of this city was always alive. People were constantly on the go. On tall and short buildings, titanic advertising posters were plastered on, and the bright lights that gripped the buildings brought focus to them. The liveliness of the people and the bright city lights pulsated like blood flowing through the veins, making the heart of the city always have a beat. This labyrinth city was unique, but in this chaos, so much darkness hid behind it. High above this car accident, located in the Novotel Hotel, was a rooftop bar. The bar had the best bird's eye view of the heart of the city. Stool chairs running along the L-shaped border of the bar gave their customers a spectacular view. The border space was built with bricks, and on top of it was a clear, tempered glass barrier. Haven sat at the corner of the bar, staring out into the chaos before her. She looked down at the car accident, seeing a crowd gather around them. She could hear an ambulance coming towards them from a distance. As she looked up, she took in the views surrounding her. She could see the Broadway play posters for Wicked adorning some of the buildings. To her, the poster resembled how she felt about the city. Gentle, warm winds stroked Haven, cooling her from the humidity. Playing with her dangling earring, she tried to fix the back of it, because it kept falling out. Still, her earring fell on the table before her. Irritated, she picked it back up in her hand. As she did so, she looked down at the scars inside her forearm. They looked to be the size and shape of broken Cheerios scattered along her arms. As she touched one of them, she could hear the heavy stroke of a man's heels scuff on marble tiles. She took a large gulp of saliva, clearing her throat. She started scratching the back of her neck. Instantly, she felt being transported to her 12-year-old self again. Remembering how she got the scars took her back into her childhood bedroom sitting on her bed. In the darkness, the only light that showed was beneath the door. Fear, anxiety, and emptiness were the pumping emotions filtering through her body. 12-year-old Haven covered herself with bedsheets, terrified of hearing the footsteps come closer and closer to her bedroom door. Heart pounding in her chest, as she scratched the back of her neck, she couldn't stop shivering. She kept telling herself,
I can do this. I have to do this. I can't back out of it. I have to stop this.
She took a deep breath. Her bedroom door opened, and her eyes showed the fright in them as they laid upon the older man in his late 50s entering her room. With his greasy, creepy, and freakish smile, he said,
Hi, my darling. Come to your uncle.
From underneath her pillow, Haven pulled a BB gun and aimed it for his chest.
That's not going to stop me. Your brother will be upset with you. You're not supposed to take things that don't belong to you.
Haven's watery eyes couldn't hold back any longer. Running little streams of tears trailed their way down her soft cheeks.
Exactly. You should take your own advice.
How can you harm me? I love you. You're my little angel that brings me joy.
He said, slowly moving to her. With her trembling hands, she fired a shot. The pellet missed, hitting the wall. Angry now, her uncle dashed towards her to take the BB gun away.
Give it to me. Stop playing around.
But Haven managed to keep a hold of the BB gun as he threw her arms against a glass fixture lamp while trying to get the gun out of her hands, shattering it and leaving bloody cuts on her arms.
Stop it, Haven. Give it to me before you hurt yourself.
No!
He smacked her across the face and tried again to pull the BB gun out of her hands. She fired another shot. This time, she did not miss. The pellet shot him in his eye, and he fell to the floor. Realizing in her terror what had happened, she couldn't believe it worked. A sudden calmness took over her emotions as she took a deep breath. For the very first time, she felt relieved. Her mother and brother ran into her bedroom.
What happened? What was that noise? What happened to your face and arms?
Haven's brother bent down and flipped over her uncle's body, and their mother screamed.
Ah! Gary! Oh my God!
She pushed her son away and took Gary's body in her arms. With disgust in her eyes, she glared at Haven.
You sinful child. I wish I never gave birth to you. You killed my brother!
Haven's brother moved close to her. Noticing the painful marks over her body, he reached out and took the BB gun out of her hands. He touched her shoulder to see if she would move, but Haven didn't react. She stared with a blank look in her eyes. She heard someone calling her name. Haven! Snapping back to the present, she saw Nova standing in front of her, concerned.
What's wrong? You looked shaken up.
Haven took long breaths to calm down. Nova added,
Just breathe.
Haven looked back down at the car accident, trying to avoid talking about her past. She blinked and scratched the back of her neck. She stared down at the accident with a hollow emptiness in her eyes.
Isn't it funny how some things can be an accident and not?